Hey everyone, today I thought we'd look over some of the most annoying, but also most satisfying things in Dead by Daylight. I thought about doing one or the other, so I thought I'd just do both together. Keep a nice balance. We're gonna alternate between them as we go. Let's get into it. Starting off with our first annoying thing, invisible walls. This is something you've likely seen me get very frustrated with in some killer gameplays. Invisible walls in games, let alone DBD, are annoying. There's something very frustrating about DBD's invisible walls though. I guess this point can be extended to bad hitboxes or awkwardly shaped loops as well. There's many things in the game you can get caught on or hit over, and they seem often surprising or just unfair. Equally, there's other times when they don't work this way, and they surprise you when you can throw over something, or leap over something. I guess it's this inconsistency which is annoying. The amount of times I've lined up a hatchet, for example, only for it to hit the thing I'm trying to throw it over, is too many to count. Finding NOED has got to be one of the most satisfying things in the game. You've completed all the gens, you played really well, and then suddenly NOED pops up on the screen. That could be a little annoying, but it's evened out, I feel, when you manage to find it. Finding and breaking basically any hex has a level of satisfaction, but for NOED it's just that bit extra. Again, especially after a game where you played well. It feels rewarding, I guess, to not only find the specific spot, but even more so when it's a weird spot, or somewhere quite hidden. It equally feels satisfying when you manage to eliminate all of the dull totems, and then enter the endgame screen to see NOED there. That's pretty cool too. Tome challenges have got to be some of the most frustrating things. They're a nice extra benefit or bonus to leveling up and such, but there are so many challenges that you just look at and go, ugh, that sucks. Some examples. Sacrifice all 4 survivors in the basement. Survive while 9 other survivors escape the trial. You must remain in the trial whilst they escape. Fall from a great height whilst in a chase 3 times, in a single trial. Stun the killer 3 times as Jane Romero, in a single trial. Then there's ones which just take ages, and are purposely meant to take a long time. Kill the obsession 10 times by any means. Commune with 5 red glyphs. Cleanse 20 totems. Fully deplete 6 toolboxes. Some of the challenges are actually kind of fun. Like these Adept-esque ones I think are pretty cool. It's a fairly interesting challenge and gets you to use some perks you might not typically use. These are fine when they're out of the way of the main path though, and in small quantity. I think the issue with many of the challenges is that they force you to play in an awkward manner, or they're simply too boring. Again, they have gotten better over time, and I don't envy the devs when it comes to thinking up these challenges. On the flip side of this, one of the most satisfying things is completing a tome or a tough challenge. Maybe that satisfaction comes from being so frustrating at times. For example, this Ace's Journey challenge. As annoying as it was at times, when I did finally do it, it was pretty satisfying, and made the games where I was close to completion all the more intense and actually enjoyable. Equally, I wouldn't want all the challenges to be like this, but these few that are like this are pretty satisfying to complete. Or this Meg challenge, say. This one I hated a lot, but equally upon completion it was very satisfying. Or this Quick and Quiet challenge. Again, as frustrating as it was, when I pulled it off successfully, it felt pretty good. And hey, once you complete a whole branch of a tome, it's also a great feeling. Or when you manage to finally light up the whole book. This can also be applied to when you first manage to unlock every perk in the game on a single character. I remember when I first unlocked everything on Meg, I just scrolled through, relieved, and also just very satisfied with the pages full of perks. Taking off a perk that would have been really useful, or a perk getting invalidated, is a very frustrating and annoying experience. It's one of the worst feelings to run Deliverance and immediately get found by the killer, or running the perk Calm Spirit for multiple games, finally taking it off, and then the very next game you get a doctor. Sometimes it's even just things like being carried through a pallet, and you realize you could have escaped if you had brought Power Struggle. Maybe a more relatable one would be with a perk like DS or Unbreakable. It always seems to be the games you don't have them in which you get either tunneled or slugged. It's that perfect timing that works against you, that seems universal in almost any game in some capacity. And hey, it never gets less annoying, to be honest. Hitting a nice shot is one of the most satisfying things in the game, whether it's a really nice hatchet shot with Huntress, or a cool chain shot, or leap with Victor. It feels really good when you hit something from a range, or at a skillful angle. This can be equated to Survivors also, getting a nice angle for a flashlight blind, or something like that. Maybe a nice flashbang or firecracker save, or a perfectly timed head-on play. Plays or moments like that always feel amazing to get. The sound of the hatchet connecting, the boop sound as the flashlight zones in, it just feels good. Back to annoying stuff. RNG is something that will constantly affect you when playing Dead by Daylight, so it sucks when the RNG is bad. This can come in the form of bad totem spawns, traps getting removed or escaped from quickly, or map layouts being filled with dead zones, or just too many pallets as killer. The whole game to some degree runs off of RNG, and it feels bad when it doesn't go your way, because there's really not much to be done about it. There's no counter to RNG in the same way you can counter Dead Hard, say, or NOED. It's very frustrating to be on a map like The Game, with nothing you can do about the crazy amount of powerful pallets, or running into an area as Survivor to find there's nothing for you to use. Hiding close calls are some of the most satisfying things in the game. This is a Survivor only thing, I suppose. This is particularly satisfying when you're very new, managing to hide somewhere with the killer walking right by you. There's something about being so close, yet unseen, which is just very satisfying. It's a different satisfaction from making a tactical play, or good use of a perk, or running a killer for a while in a chase. It's this feeling of outplaying them without them even knowing sometimes. It's also just the idea of being so close to being in danger, but you just fly under the radar. Too many perks and the blood web are both very frustrating and annoying things. The sheer amount of stuff in this game is kinda crazy. The amount of times I've gone onto my blood web as killer and have just sifted through all these things I don't want, or perks I have no interest in, is quite a lot. It's just as annoying to have your blood web filled with things you don't care about, or add-ons you're never going to use. Most of you likely have things like the different brown and yellow BP offerings stacked up, unused, or a mass of grey toolboxes. The grind is already exhausting in this game, so when you then have your wasted BP staring back at you, it just kinda sucks. Using a niche perk to its full potential is one of the best feelings. I love when I manage to make perks like Deception work well, or weirder stuff like Red Herring. It's very fun to use deception-based perks like this, I find. Typically most niche perks aren't ever going to activate in a normal game, and even when you go out of your way to try and activate them, it often doesn't go too well. So when you do get these perks to work well, it's a great feeling. This is mainly for Survivors honestly, but it can also apply to killer perks like Coup de Grace, Blood Warden, maybe Pentimento if you're very good. I can't get that perk to hit 5 stacks. For Survivors, it's perks like For the People, Autodidact, Metal of Man, Red Herring, Power Struggle, that kind of stuff. I guess this can just be called niche perk value to be more concise. Common riff charms are things that annoy me probably more than they should. These kinds of things are in every game with a battle pass kind of system, and no one likes them. These pointless cosmetic items that are in no way unique, with incredibly simplistic and boring designs, with multiple iterations of the same design. We already have a ton of reskins for things in rifts, which is fine I guess for cosmetics, but for charms, it's just annoying. Most of them are just images of the character's face, or power, or just something weird like a ring or a can opener. There's some more detailed and colourful versions of these that actually look pretty good, but the basic ones in those little tombstone shapes are so infuriating to get. Alright, well, that's gonna do it. I do hope you enjoyed, and be sure to drop the things that annoy you, or things that you find satisfying in Dead by Daylight, down below. Thanks, and goodbye.